Okay, hi guys. Welcome to episode number 44 of Fashionpreneur Talk with Gitana Styling Podcast. How are you guys today? How are you doing? How's your fashion business? If you don't know me, my name is Sandra. I am a fashion stylist and a business consultant. And this podcast is about having genuine conversations about fashion entrepreneurship and getting your questions answered. So if you have any questions, please email us at info@gitanastyling.com. Gitana is Gitana styling.com. You can always hang out with us inside our free Facebook group, the Fashion Entrepreneur Club Hangout. You also can take advantage of our workbooks and planners to build a successful fashion business on our Etsy store. And you can also join our monthly subscription, and get one planner a month and start revolutionizing your fashion business one planner a month. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, I'll leave some links below. But today, I have an amazing guest here for you. Like I mentioned, it is our episode number 44, and I can't wait to get started. Okay, her name is Sophie Downing. Sophie helps women to enhance their true beauty using makeup to complement, not hide. She does bridal makeup, one-on-one lessons, online makeup courses. She has an amazing online community called the Glow Collective, and so much more. Thank you, Sophie, for being here. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sandra. It's great to be here. Look forward to sharing all the goodness about makeup and beauty.
Yes, let's do this. Sophie, tell them a little bit more about you and your background.
Yeah, of course. So I literally went into makeup and beauty straight from school. Like I left school, studied it for a couple of years. I kind of led firstly straight into like an editorial background. So I did a lot of photo shoots, catwalks, a lot of glam things. And then I got my first wedding request and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to do your wedding day. Like there was a lot of pressure on this. And I was like, you know what, let's give it a go. We can do it. Like I could do it natural. We can take it back a few steps. And you know what, ever since then, it kind of led me into the wedding industry where I've been in there for 8 years now. And I then slowly progressed into doing one-to-one lessons. So yeah, here we are now.
Amazing. And you are based in the UK. A little bit more about your online offerings and your in-person offerings.
Yeah, for sure. So as we all know, COVID hit pretty hard all of a sudden. So I had to all of my services were in person, face to face. So that was pretty much closed down. And then I actually had the Glow Collective up and running in the group, which we'll talk about soon. But that's a Facebook group that I've got. And from there, I just did lots of free makeup lessons through COVID, just really built up the members in there and just gave them so much content to keep me busy for one as well. So after doing that, it kind of then led into doing one-to-one lessons online. I actually did a wedding over Zoom. So she actually applied her makeup through, just told me what to do, which then made me think, actually, I can teach this all over the world. So let's actually put some bundles, some courses together, and it's kind of blossomed from then on. So anybody all over the UK, all over the world can actually have a one-to-one with me, but also can have the at-home sessions as well. So it was the best of both worlds.
It is. I've always been in my community very, I always encourage people since before COVID to go online, to do whatever they do in person, but always, have a course, have, have passive income. Like I always talk about people about having flexibility and stuff. And when COVID hit, was like, okay, are you going to do this or not? Like we have to. And me, I used to work with a fashion week and we did a lot of events, and when COVID hit, all of them eliminated, and like you, the same thing happened to me. I had my group, the Fashion Entrepreneur Club, and, everything I already had, been teaching classes online and everything, but it just, went to a different level because that was the only thing, right? And a lot of people had trouble going through that transition. And, I want to ask you a little bit about that. Like, how was that transition for you? Because you just mentioned it.
Yeah, I remember obviously going into COVID and then thinking, well, I need to do something because I literally just bought a house that year within like a month of COVID hitting. So I was like, right, I've got bills to pay now. So I literally obviously had to cancel a lot of brides, had to move them on. So that was kind of the scare, but I always knew the brides were going to be there at the end of it. So it was nice to have that security. Whereas when it came to transition online, I actually started off doing Sunday sessions. And a lot of the members in the group were just like, I love waking up on a Sunday morning to then go and do our makeup because we couldn't get ready. We couldn't go out and enjoy looking glam at all. It was just always in our pajamas. So we kind of took the glam side into our PJs and doing it all online. So it was a really nice combination, and then it just blossomed from then on. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. Kudos to you for being flexible and embracing the situation. 100%. Yeah. What about the entrepreneurial journey? Like, you know, doing this thing on your own, because I don't know how it was for you. You just mentioned in the beginning that you just jumped right in and did a lot of glam stuff. For me, when I started, I started on TV, and I used to have a 9 to 5, you know, and I had a schedule and all of that. But then as time went on, I kept freelancing and freelancing until I was like, okay, I'm doing this, you know, on my own. How is that process for you of saying like, okay, I'm going to do this on my own, and this is what I want to offer and all of that stuff?
Yeah, I'd definitely say that's the hardest transition for anybody with a business, because it's just that not knowing, and that big, I mean, that's probably the biggest risk that I've ever took in my life, was to leave my job and just go straight into it. But I always say I did this at a really good time. So when I was 18, I was working for a lot of brands in the airport. So I was doing a lot of promotional stuff and lots of counter cover. So I built up a lot of knowledge and everything, well, obviously after my college course anyway. So I was always in with what was coming out and keeping up to date with everything. And then it kind of just went in, a couple more years went along, and I was starting to get obviously the wedding bookings on the weekend. And I was like, you know what, I need more time to be doing this. I can't be working in retail all the time. So like I say, I was about 20, so I was still at home. I wasn't having no big outcomes, so the risk wasn't as big for me. So I kind of stepped into it and just thought, you know what, if I'm ever going to do it, now is the time. If I leave it too late, when I've got bills to pay, it's going to be a bit more of a struggle. So yeah, I just went with it. And do you know what, I think a really good thing is when you jump into it, it makes you have the time to focus on it. So after a 9 to 5, you don't want to be sitting on your laptop advertising your side hustle and just you just want to put all your all into it Monday to Friday, and it'll just work. It really will. So that's what I learned.
Amazing. Great. That's so great to hear, because everybody, I always ask this question because everybody has a different experience and everyone is different and everyone has different circumstances. So it's good to hear everyone's story to see, you know, what resonates and give us ideas of how to make this happen. Another thing I wanted to ask you, you mentioned the Glow Collective. I am part of your group. I love it. You do great content all the time. Tell them a little bit more about the group and you know, how to find you and what you do in there.
Yeah, so the Glow Collective came about, actually, it was 2021 that I changed the name to the Glow Collective. So previously it was the S Diaries. So it was my name's kind of put together, but it was like a diary of makeup secrets. But because the collective like blossomed and a lot more people joined and we extended out to obviously the inner and the outer beauty, I really wanted to put everything together as a circle. So obviously the Glow Collective is literally just like a grow your glow, basically. It's a group, it's a collective where everyone's growing that glow together. And the glow is really honed in on your inner beauty and your outer beauty. So it's not all about taking your face in makeup. It literally is about going back to your skincare or how you're feeling from your mindset. And that's where it all came together. And I love the group now because it just has a space for everybody and we can all get involved, and I share my journey truthfully. So I literally always put in there what comes from the heart, and I think that's what serves best. So that's what happened to the Glow Collective, and that's where we are now. So, and we're doing obviously the monthly sessions now too. So
yes, she does workshops also. I just participated in one of her workshops and it was great. I really love it. There's, like you said, there's a little bit for everyone. We'll make sure to leave the links below so you guys can join and start learning, whether it's skincare or makeup or participate in her events and more stuff that we're going to talk about in a little bit. I wanted to ask you also, you know, you do put a lot of emphasis on skincare. I work with a lot of makeup artists and some people, they're just really focused on the makeup side, but you make sure that, you know, people have a good foundation, you know, behind the, you know, in the skin, and you really put a lot of emphasis on that. Can you share a little bit more about your philosophy on that?
So I always think, I mean, I've always been let's go back to the basics, actually. Let's take it right back to school. So I had really bad breakouts in school, as we all do, hormonal skin. And I will say, I know exactly where people are coming from when they say, I don't want to put this on my skin because I'll break out. And it's a common thing. You're scared to try things and scared to put new things on the face. And that's totally understandable. And you will get the odd breakout. We have to kind of go through the journey to come out the other end, as we all know in any kind of topic and situation. But with the skincare, obviously, the more I did makeup, the more that I found that the skincare was where the benefits were coming from. So really, that's why I always like to say, like, don't use makeup to hide, because your makeup is to enhance. So your skincare is what to focus on, so that your makeup isn't hiding any blemishes. All you're doing is covering to enhance your, obviously, your true beauty. So the skincare really came into it because it was all about personalizing someone's routine, their concerns, any issues, and putting a selective kind of routine together for themselves to do every day and night. Because people wash their face with soap, they take their makeup off with Makeup Wives, and I'm like, don't tell me, have this instead. So I then obviously expanded out into being an ambassador for a Tropic, which was a brand, I don't know whether it's in the US, but it's in the UK, and it's just all natural ingredients. So from the previous times in school and my skin and things, I didn't want to put loads of chemicals on the face. So I knew where it was coming from. And I always say, if I was to create a skincare brand, it would be ingredients like Tropic use, because they're so raw. You've got like spirulina, you've got like your hyaluronic acid, just fruit peels and fruit acids, things that are actually natural, that aren't going to damage the skin. They're actually going to help it. But it's all about reading the skin. And yeah, I could talk about all day about skincare, because it's a big step in your makeup routine, trust me.
Totally. And I feel, it makes a big difference on how you feel, covering up, like you said, if you have a blemish or something. And I didn't experience any of that when I was super young. And now that I'm way older, I am experiencing that. And I'm going through that with the skin and allergies and things that I never, and it's so important to take care of yourself and do the right things and feel good, because you can put on the makeup, but if you don't feel that good, even if it looks great, but you know that under it's not good, that also makes a big difference on how you feel, what you reflect, and everything, I think.
Massively. And I think that's where the Glow Collective came from, because you do have to, once you go into one thing, there's another bit to go into, and it seems quite overwhelming. But even like your skincare, you've got to drink a lot of water, you've got to eat like good choices, so it does all spider off with each other. But if you're honing on feeling good, it shows on the outside, and that's what matters, I think.
Totally. I agree. And something I really love about you is that you incorporate the magic element into everything that you do. She always talks about intuition and the moon, and sometimes she does a little reading. Like, I love it. Tell us more about that and where that comes from. How did you start to do? Did you always do that, or is it now that, okay?
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like years ago it was always something you would hide. It's not something you could openly speak about. Oh yeah, I watch the moon phases. Oh yeah, I do my crystals, and people would look at you and think, oh, you're a bit strange, you are. Nowadays it's really normal, and everybody's aware of like the spirituality and the connection. But to be honest, my boyfriend said to me the other day, he was like, you look like you do such weird stuff. And I'm like, it's not weird, it's actually just relating to my higher self. Like, I'm not talking to ghosts, I'm not looking out spirits coming into my meditations or anything like that. It's literally just connecting to your higher self and knowing yourself on a better level, and that is literally what it stems down to. So things like the moon, the crystals, astrology, it just makes me me. And I think that's where I find deeper connections with the stories that I tell, or how I come across in workshops and teaching things. It just, I don't know, I've done it for so many years. It was just like a ritual to me. It's something that I absolutely loved, and it was a bit like a self-care element for myself, actually. And the more it was come out in the open and people were speaking about it more, I was like, you know what, I'm going to show them that I've got a house full of crystals, and that I follow my moon cycle with even my hormones. Like, it just goes in sync. And again, it's a lot to take in, but you just have to do a bit by bit at a time, and then it all kind of comes together. But I absolutely love anything spiritual. I'm there.
Me too. And I think there's a lot of exploration, because different things work for different people. When I was young, I was very attracted to all of that stuff. But, I grew up Catholic, and, as a Catholic, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this. And, I always it was part of my life, but like on the side. And as I get older and older, it just incorporated more and more and more. And I'm so fascinated by the fact that now, like you say, everybody talks about it, and we're able to learn more about it, because it was so hard to find a book, to find, something. And especially, I grew up in Venezuela, in my country, and, everyone's Catholic, basically, most people. And, and I don't have anything against religion or anything like that, but, it doesn't allow you sometimes to explore certain things. And for me, you know, meditation, crystals, everything that you just mentioned is just such a big part of my life, as the other stuff is too, you know. It's a whole it's a holistic approach.
It is. I think that's the way to look at it, I think. And it's just more of a self-care thing. So it kind of brings you, I mean, I'm studying Reiki at the minute, and that's been fascinating because you can just heal your on it. I mean, everything is energy. The more you look into this, the more you find out that actually everything can be on a level of the same frequency. So it's so easy to align with certain things. But I mean, I learn something new every single day, like, and I love that because I love learning new things and trying out new things and like finding out different bits every single day, because that's what keeps me on my toes as well. I think it's nice to delve into something a bit deeper that's not just surface level. It's not just about your day-to-day life and the boring things that we all have to think about. It just kind of takes me into another little dream world, which is, yeah, just me.
Totally. And I think us, especially as entrepreneurs who go through so many ups and downs, and there's a lot of not knowing most of the time how something will turn out, these things are really, they anchor us, they give us knowledge, like you said, you connect to your higher self, and they give us that extra boost and confidence to keep going and figuring things out and having fun along the way too, you know.
100%. It's amazing what you find out along the way, actually, because you, like, even with journaling, like I did a workshop on, in fact you were on the journal, just writing things, and it kind of just flows out of you, and you're like, oh, where did this come from? And you think, wow, well, maybe I need to do this more often. Even an oracle card, like you pull a card out of a pack and all of a sudden all this stuff
clarity. Yeah, totally. I agree. Now, Sophie, you've been teaching classes, you've been doing makeup, and now I see you diving into coaching. And I wanted to ask you, because it's kind of, you know, you kind of been doing, we all do coaching in different ways, right, all the time, but now you're doing something like more official, like packaging it and offering to your audience. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I mean, I've looked at coaching for the past couple of years, actually. Even like before COVID, I was looking at it and I was thinking, I'd love to do that, but I don't know the structure or how I would even start with it and things like that. So I did take on a course this year to get my qualification in coaching, but it's mainly for like self-love and self-care kind of coaching, the confidence side of things, just in the strength for your own self and mindset to carry on in life, because it relates quite well with the skincare and makeup, because like I say, you put the makeup on the face, but actually it's how you feel inside that's going to make the difference. So to me, I was thinking, well, the coaching side of things is really going to help people just progress on who they are. Again, it probably goes into the spiritual side, but obviously if I'm doing a lot of lessons, one-to-one lessons, and seeing women just walk into this studio here and being really lacking quite a lot of confidence and not understanding where they are beautiful or what features they've got that are actually them. It's always about looking like a celebrity or changing about your face, and that's not the way forward. Like, the way forward is to appreciate yourself, and that doesn't just come from applying makeup. That actually comes from coaching people and making them feel better on the inside and going back to their roots as well. Like, you can go through things like your inner child and just past experiences that will impact majorly on the future. So I had to obviously do a coaching degree just to make sure that I knew the structure and I was confident to obviously help people like that, because it was something that I love to do, and that is definitely what I'm here for, is to help people. I feel like that's my calling in life, and it's just kind of the way that it's took me with my path really, which is great. So it does seem like I do a lot talking to you like here now. I'm kind of thinking, am I doing too much?
You do, but you know what? Well, first, I'm excited that you started doing it more and packaging it that way, because really what you do in the group, that's what you do. And what you do when, like you mentioned, you have someone in your studio and you're doing that, like, it's like me as a stylist, you know, I dress people all the time, and that's what you do. You give them tools to, like, this is your body, let's dress your body, let's make you feel confident, let's you know, help you love your how you came into this world, and give you tips to, if you're not happy with it, how to make it work. And you know, so that's something that you do naturally all the time, and people are looking for that. And some people need it as a package, some people need it as going to you're sitting on your chair and doing that. So I'm super excited. I wish you all the best. I know that, you know, you're gonna be super successful at it, and I want to thank you for all the work that you're doing. You have a lot of stuff going on and a lot of great content, because women need this. We all need this, taking care of ourselves, doing self-care, listening to our intuition, you know, feeling better and better about who we are and what gifts do we have and all of that. So I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. No, I love it. It, like I say, it just comes naturally to me. So I just kind of go with the flow. I'm not forcing anything. I'm just kind of going what I feel called to do. And I think that's the way that it just flows out of me, really. So I'm happy that I'm helping people and making them feel good. So yeah.
Totally. And something I love is that, you know, and I'm a little bit like that too as well. Like I do a lot of little things in my group and in my community too. It's who you are. There are different parts of you, and sometimes and that's one of the reasons that I feel like that's why I'm an entrepreneur, because in your job, you know, in your 9 to 5, you're kind of put in a box. You know, some bosses are amazing and they let you fly and evolve and everything, but in a lot of places you feel constricted and you have to only do these things. Like I remember when I got started in TV, you know, I always loved fashion and I always did fashion things on the side. And I remember working on the production team, and I would freelance with fashion magazines on the weekend. I couldn't help it. You know, that's part of me. And all of those things help and have made me who I am. And I love to see nowadays women like you who have their own businesses based on all those talents, because we all need those talents. And that's part of who we are and the gifts that they gave us for here to come here and share them, you know?
Yeah, it's just finding the joy in, like, not just your everyday life, but just feeling fulfilled in what you do, because you've got to work probably 80% of your life. So when you think you're always working, like, you want to enjoy it. And that's what I always think. I don't want to be at a night, well, not always 9 to 5, but like you say, I don't want to be at a job where I'm just sat on a desk and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go home watching the clock. But whereas the job that I've got is just like, it just pours out of me. So yeah, we're in the right area for this. We're doing the right thing.
Totally. So Sophie, for people who are listening who want to maybe in 2023, you know, dive in and start their own beauty business, they want to be a makeup artist, or they want to create a makeup brand, or whatever it may be, what are your tips for them to kind of get planning and get started with that?
I would say stay in your own lane. Speak your truth and just be yourself, because that's where it's got me. I mean, at the start of your journey, you might find that you get inspiration from a lot of people and that you kind of look up to certain people and kind of want to do what they're doing, but you'll go down a path eventually and kind of think, you know what, this is what I love to do. This is how I love to help people. And that's what I want to offer. And it's just finding that path, that little secret one that's tucked away in the corner. And then once you head down there, then you're on your route. Because I literally find that just speaking your truth and just saying how you feel about something just relates people's energy to you. So you'll notice people may pick up signs from me and think, oh, she's really passionate about that. And that's what you want to get from somebody that you're going to buy from or work with. But yeah, I mean, find your calling, really. I think that's the main focus.
Yeah. Totally. Sophie, thank you so much for being here. Where can people connect with you? Is there anything else you want to share with the audience?
So you've got, I'll share the group in the comments, won't we? So it's the Glow Collective on Facebook groups. There's also a new Instagram called the Glow Collective SD, which is obviously to do with the Glow Collective group. Just I'm showing more image side of that. And obviously my original website is makeupbysophie.downing.co.uk, and everything is on there for all the lessons and the online content. So yeah.
Awesome. We'll make sure, guys, to leave all those links below for you. If you guys have any questions, please, you know, connect, leave them in the comments. And if you like this episode, please like, share, subscribe. Again, thank you so much, Sophie, for being here and sharing your expertise with everyone here today. And yeah, I'm so happy, guys. I just want to wish you a great rest of your week. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Okay? Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate that.